Today is Monday, and yesterday obviously it was Sunday, but it wasn't just a regular Sunday, it was Easter Sunday, and we had a ton of food at my house, a ton of people were here, and I definitely ate more than I was wanting to. So I figured, let's talk about that in today's video. I actually wasn't planning on filming this video at all today, but I woke up this morning and I've kind of always had a certain way that I handle days where I've eaten too much the day before. Now there's a reason that I'm just saying I've eaten too much and not saying that I binged, because I really do think there's a huge difference between binge eating and just eating more calories than you were expecting. So when I binge, and like when I used to binge, it's been a really long time since I have, but when I used to binge, I used to eat an insane amount of calories. Mentally, it wasn't me doing it. And I don't really know how to explain it unless you've ever been there, but like I would eat stuff that I didn't even enjoy. I would just eat food, to get food into my body, because I was, you know, being so restrictive in the days before the binge. So I would eat, like literally I used to eat like boxes of cereal dry that wasn't even like checks, you know, just straight up just eat a whole box of it. So that is not what happened at all. You know, we had a ton of people here, we had family, I was hanging out with my friends, and you know, we had food there. So I was eating we had tacos, so I ate a good amount of tacos, and then I had, my family always makes a ton of dessert, so I enjoyed some cake, I enjoyed some pie, but I knew as I was eating it, you know, I was like, I'm eating too much, I probably shouldn't be doing this. So that's why I don't consider that a binge. The reason that I wanted to explain the difference between like a binge session where I can't control it at all, and then a day where I just kind of, you know, ate too much food and I was like, man, I shouldn't have done that, is because the way that I treat the next day, which is today, is a little bit different. You know, the way that I treat today after eating just a little bit too much, it's a lot less mental stuff that I'm dealing with. It's just kind of things that I am doing throughout the day that kind of make me, I guess, feel a little bit better, but also just kind of get me right back on track where I want to be. As where if it was a binge session, that is a completely different animal. That's like a huge mental thing that I have to go through. I've made a video about, you know, how I deal with after a binge, but just after eating too much, these are gonna be a couple tips that I have used that hopefully will help you out too. The first thing that I do is a lot of days after I've eaten too much, because normally when I eat too much food, it's normally at night, right before I go to sleep. So when I wake up the next day, I am not hungry at all. So normally I will actually skip breakfast. I know a lot of people are gonna freak out and say like breakfast is the most important meal, but for me, I'm not gonna force myself to eat more calories when I am literally still full from that session of eating, right? So I just usually will skip breakfast, and you know, I'll make sure I drink water. That's very, very important. Drink a ton of water. You should be drinking a lot of water regardless, but after you've eaten a lot of food, especially if you're feeling really bloated, drink water still. It's not gonna be the funnest. You're probably gonna be, you know, feeling a really tight stomach, but still drink that water. You know, I'll have my coffee in the morning, but I usually will skip breakfast just because I can't eat. Literally, I'm like super full still, so I'll just skip breakfast. With that being said though, I do wanna say that I'm not starving myself, and like that's very, very important, because if you start to like just decide I'm not gonna eat anything, like if I told myself today, I'm not gonna eat anything at all because I ate too much the night before, that is a recipe for disaster, and that is a recipe to start developing, you know, binge eating disorder, and that is just not something that I recommend. So I'm not saying starve yourself, and like I'm saying, this is what I do. I'm not saying if you wake up and you're still hungry, go for it, eat your breakfast. But for me, I woke up this morning not hungry, so I skipped breakfast. The next thing that I'll do is more of a mental thing, but I'll just focus on the positives out of the situation. Because if you only sit there and dwell on the negatives, like, oh my gosh, I ate too many calories, I'm a failure, blah, 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 that's just gonna spiral down into a negative spot, right? So I will try and focus on the positive. So I was able to hang out with friends, I was able to hang out with family, I was able to eat food that I normally don't eat. You know, normally I don't have like cake and pie at the house, and like all of this really good food that I normally just don't have at the house, so I don't eat it because I eat at home most of the time. So that was really good. So I will just try and really focus on the positives out of the situation. Another positive that normally happens, which is exactly what happened this morning, is I will normally have a really good workout after that happens, and that's exactly what happened today. I was actually able to hit the 110-pound dumbbells on the flat dumbbell press for 3 reps. So for me, that's really, really good, and I felt really good in the gym today, which is always nice, because you know, when I have a good workout, it just makes me feel a lot better. So you know, try and think about that. If you wake up in the morning, just tell yourself, well, at least maybe I'll have a really good workout today, and that'll make me feel a lot better as well. Another thing that I'll do is I'll really focus on how much damage can actually be done as far as adding fat in one day. And the answer to that is not very much. Like if you might weigh yourself and you might have gained like 8 pounds, right? But most of that, if not all of that, is going to be water weight that the next day will probably be gone. So seriously, like, don't weigh yourself and then just look at that number and think to yourself, I failed. Like, I've gained 8 pounds in one day. That's literally like impossible. It's not gonna happen. So just focus on how much damage you could have actually done. And like I'm saying, at the most, you might have gained maybe a half a pound. Like, and that's at the most. So just focus on that. Really think about that when you're, you know, going throughout the day. If you're feeling a little bit bloated, if you did weigh yourself the next morning, which I don't really recommend, but you know, if you do weigh yourself every single day, you're gonna see that number on the scale is going to skyrocket. It's just gonna happen, especially if you've been in a deficit for a while and you haven't had a day where you've kind of eaten more than you were expecting. Just you can't focus on that number on the scale because it's water weight. It's gonna go away. It's gonna go away in the next day. So just really focus on how much damage have I actually done, and the answer to that question is very little. So let that kind of comfort you as well. Another cool thing that happens after a night of indulging like that is that my cravings kind of disappear. So right now, literally right now, there's like cookies, cakes, brownies, pies, a ton of stuff in my fridge, and I just got done eating a little wrap with ground turkey, and I like walked right by the pies and all of that stuff, and it literally, like, I just didn't even want it because I was like, I had that stuff last night. I know how I felt when I woke up in the morning. I don't even want it, and it really does. It works for a while, so that's another thing that I'm not sure if this is gonna happen to all of you guys, but for me, that's definitely something that works out when I, you know, indulge like that. Basically, what I'm trying to say is after a day of eating a little bit too much, I do my best to make that day as normal as possible. Now, there's little things that I might change, you know, skipping breakfast and drinking a little bit more water just to make myself feel a little bit more normal, but I don't try and do things super drastically because usually when you do super drastic things, the repercussions are gonna be a lot more drastic. Above all else, you just gotta not dwell on that night because in the big scheme of things, like, it's really not that big of a deal, and I really believe that life is 95% how you react to things and only 5% of the things that happen to you. So if you react in a positive way, if you just make the steps that you need to make to maybe not do that again or just get over it, you will be in a much better spot than if you were always just focused like, oh my gosh, I'm such a failure, I messed up. That's not gonna do you any good. So just move on. Again, it's not that big of a deal, especially if it's like Easter and you're with your friends and your family. Like, there's nothing wrong with eating a little bit more food. Absolutely not. I understand how difficult it is when you are losing weight, especially when you're in the middle of it, when you still have 100 pounds to lose, you still have 50 pounds to lose, to see that number maybe go up or even just slow down. I get it. That's really frustrating. But again, like I always say, when you're losing weight, the main goal should be to improve the quality of your life. So if you enjoyed your time with your friends and your family, you should not feel bad about eating a little bit more food. Okay, so those are my tips. Like I said, I wasn't planning on filming this video, so I apologize if it's kind of all over the place. I did my best to, you know, make some points and hopefully help you guys out. Again, I hope you guys had an absolutely awesome Easter, and if you did eat too much, just move on. You got it, you'll be okay, and we're all gonna be good. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am.
Obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.